the recording. You talk to me. You make things good.
Here we are. Thank you, Dr. Dain, to be here with us.
Yes.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We are having this month a special edition about the Being You Day. So we are happy to have you here, and we have maybe a question for you about the Being You Day.
Oh, good. I love it. I'm so excited. May 22nd, finally, a day about us being us. I am very excited and very much looking forward to it. Ask me anything you want.
We are all really excited about this date, and we would like to ask you, which is the energy you want to bring in the world with this International Being You Day?
Well, it's interesting because I wrote the Being You Changing the World book 10 years ago. So it's its 10th anniversary. It's growing up. And it's been such a cool gift. And, you know, it's translated into 17 languages. And I heard so many people say by reading this book, it's like, I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to be different. I'm starting to like myself more. I'm starting to judge myself less. I'm becoming the person that I always knew I was, that I haven't been able to find for so long. So for me, it's this invitation to being what we actually are, that is actually the easiest thing for us to be, that we think is the most difficult thing for us to choose. And giving people some inspiration, showing some people who are being them, and also inviting people to a space beyond judgment and beyond the continuous state of right and wrong that we continuously have in our heads, and inviting them to recognize that the space of being you is when everything is okay. You have a sense of lightness, you have a sense of gratitude for you, for other people, for what's in your life. You even have a sense of gratitude for what has changed in the world, even as the world looks like it's going crazy. And you always have you with you. And that for me is the energy that I want to bring, is the awareness of the gift of what being you can gift each of us, but also the awareness of how it goes out into the world and creates an invitation for other people. And not even just an invitation. It's like, if you've ever been around somebody who, or if you've ever been in a relationship, for example, where, you know, you learn to do relationship a particular way. And so you might be making them wrong, or I don't know, fighting or something. And they just sit there and they're like, okay. And you go, wait a minute, why aren't you reacting? Didn't you learn from the same parents I had about how to create a relationship? Why are you not doing what I want you to? And they're like, okay, I love you too much to fight with you. I love you too much to judge you. And it changes your world. And that's actually the way that we are. When we be us, we open up the space for others to be them. And it's a space of kindness. It's a space of gratitude. It's a space of gentleness. It's a space of joy. It's a space of possibilities. That is what I would like to invite to the world, and to each person to know that it's possible for them to choose also.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Dain. And today we are recording this. Today is also the Earth Day. So the Being You, what contribution is to the Earth? Can you on this, please?
So much. The Earth is such a beautiful contribution. And I mean, if you could just imagine waking up and having none of the stuff in your head that you normally do about everything you have to do and what's going on and all the judgments and stuff. And you just, that judgment machine wasn't there. And you allowed yourself to sort of reach out to the energy that is the earth. And it's all around us, no matter where we live. It just gets drowned out by people's thoughts and their judgments and that. But if you allowed your space to expand and get a sense of the largeness of the earth, and also it's non-judgment. I mean, we have people who are, you know, doing whatever they can to get whatever they can from the earth, and people who are not asking it, people who are not acknowledging it, people who are not grateful for it. But the earth has no judgment. And so the earth is actually this gift that can show us what it's like to be us if we're willing to receive the gift that it is. And so to shift our perspective a little bit, and this is the way all of this works, is you shift your perspective a little bit and the whole world becomes available that you didn't know could exist. And so if we shifted our perspective to every morning just allowing our space to expand out, and we can do it in 3 seconds, and just go, hi earth, what can I contribute to you today? Because we're always looking for what we can get from the earth, but if we look at earth, what can I contribute to you today, creates a totally different possibility. And then, and I do this every day, earth, what can I contribute to you today? And about 95% of the time when I ask that, there's this energy that becomes available. It feels like it comes through my body from the earth that's actually about receive from me, receive the gift that I am. And so there's this energy, there's this space, there's this kindness that the earth is, there's this continuous gifting that the earth is, where it will continuously give to us. And we just have to be willing to shift our perspective enough to say, okay, I'll receive it. That's all it takes. Okay, I'll receive it. And so much of what we can contribute to the earth and the world is to be more like the earth. And when we ask to contribute to the earth, so much of the time, it's about actually receiving from the earth, which is just kind of amazing and phenomenal and so easy that most people, they're so caught up in the hard work they're going to have to do to change things, and the hard work they're going to have to do to get happy, and the hard work they're going to have to do to like themselves in their lives, that we don't realize how easy it can be. And if the earth is showing us anything, it's that us allowing more ease and us allowing more receiving and us allowing more gifting in our direction will allow us to be that gift that basically takes it from, not takes it from the earth, but is gifted that from the earth. And then we can bring it to other people just by being it. And it's easier than any of us ever thought it could be.
Wow, thank you. And you made me think about young people. I work with a lot of teenagers that suffer from depression, anxiety, and sometimes I give them your book, which has been a great co-therapist because it changes a lot. And what energy, what question would you like to address to Italy and to young people in Italy? What do you know that could be an invitation for Italy and young people in Italy?
Well, what I would say is young people need to recognize that they can create a different future that they don't even recognize yet. In other words, like so many of these kids, and I have worked with so many kids who are suffering from depression and anxiety, and actually adults suffering from depression and anxiety and stress and just feeling wrong continuously. And almost all the time, those people are actually the sensitive, aware people who would gladly suffer if it would make the world better. And they try to take on everybody else's point of view and try to make it right. They try to take on other people's suffering and try to heal it. And I want to tell them, you have a different choice. And your suffering does not make the world greater. Your suffering just lessens your life. And it's not something you have to choose, even if everybody around you is. And I also want to say your difference is the gift. And especially when you're a teenager, it starts when you're a teenager, but it actually occurs for many, many, many adults also. So you're not alone in this, but it's actually the difference that you are, the thing that you get judged for, that is most often the greatness of you, the gift that you are to this world. And so please recognize that whatever you're being judged for, just because you're being judged for something doesn't mean you're wrong. And probably, especially if you're being judged for something, it's probably a greatness of you that other people are uncomfortable with you being. And this, this is a quick statement or conversation about this, and it really needs to be explored in a lot more detail because there are lots of pieces of this. But that's what all of Access does, is allows you to pick apart the pieces of where the lies are in your life, because a lie always makes you heavier. And when you get lie after lie after lie, like judgment is a lie, people judging you feels like it weighs you down and weighs you down. You don't have to live that way. I was at the point of ending my life 20 years ago, plus years ago now, when I came to Access. And what Access gave me was the sense of possibility that I had given up I could ever have again. It gave me hope, and it gave me the tools to change all of these crazy points of view that I had, that I didn't even know were crazy, that I didn't even know were mine, because they had just become my reality. At this point, as a teenager, I know what it's like to look at the future and not be sure you're going to have one. And I would like to let you know that that may not be yours. You may be picking it up from a lot of other people. And recognize, please, that there is definitely a future available. We together are creating it. And it requires your voice. It requires your input about what you would like the future to be. It requires your energy to being willing to contribute just energetically to creating that. And when you see the exact opposite of that showing up, you go to school and people are, they're so interested in their image and they don't want something different because nobody wants to be seen as different, so they're not judged by everybody else. Find one or two people that are also being judged for being different and just start a conversation with them and let them know that you don't judge them for how everybody else says they're weird. And make friends with people, not judgmental, and especially it can be really helpful to find people that are in judgment of themselves and that other people judge, and just have a conversation with them, see what's true for them. We don't talk anymore. We've learned in this world that we all want to put up our image so everybody sees us as perfect, rather than be what we are that is different, that is actually the gift the earth requires, the gift that the people on the planet require, and the gift that is absolutely essential that we embrace if we're going to create a different future. Because if we just listen to all of the judgmental idiots in the world, we're going to create a world that is all about judgment being valuable and these people are being right. And this is what we see, is the people that judge the harshest and can get other people to align and agree with it are the ones that seem to have value. But what if they don't? What if deep inside they're insecure? What if deep inside they're tiny creatures and they know it, and the only power they think they can have is judging other people? Well, what if that's okay? And what if you acknowledging it is okay? But what if you don't ever, for another day in your life, see somebody judgmental, see somebody abusive, and what if you never see them as greater than you ever again? This allows us to create a different possibility for the world. Because when you be that, you'll find people who are drawn to you, who desire what you offer because you're not being the same as everybody else. It's like I've been part of creating a worldwide business that is in 106 countries, that grows about 20% a year by being different. And when I started, I tried to do everything the same way everybody said you're supposed to. And I tried it, and it never made me lighter. It always made me heavier. And finally I went, even if I fail, I've got to do this my way. And it turns out that a lot of people are inspired to do it their way because I was willing to do it my way. You doing it your way and not letting yourself be stopped is one of the greatest gifts you can give the world. And that doesn't mean, though, that it's like my way is wrong. When you're really doing it your way, you don't ever have to prove that it's right. You don't ever have to think that it's wrong. You just have a different space of being that doesn't exist for anybody else.
Boom. Yeah.
And by the way, that space of being is the space and the possibility this world requires.
And we can be the invitation to everybody for something different. Yeah, also we just something that maybe is a small thing for us can be a big contribution for everybody else. And I remember Dain, and then you have the tour of consciousness that is huge. It's a huge contribution. It's translated often in Italian, and I remember receiving a lot of gratitude to you from a lot of people, and also there is a lot of vulnerability there. So I would like to ask you if you can say something about being on this planet now and choosing vulnerability, how it is, what this will create.
Well, vulnerability is it's one of the greatest gifts we can have. It makes life yummy. It's like it softens all the walls and barriers, and it makes it so that you can show up warts and all, but you don't have to hide anything because you're not trying to prove anything about you. And what we're told vulnerability is weakness. Like, you have a weak little creature that's vulnerable and therefore they can be eaten or killed but in actuality, when we're being what vulnerability truly is, and vulnerability is that space where you have no walls and no barriers, you have nothing to prove. You don't need to try to prove that you're right because you don't feel wrong. And you don't have to prove that you're wrong because you won't need to make people feel better about themselves. You just get to show up and you're like, hi. And this, if we could embrace this in being, this is one of the biggest elements of being, is choosing vulnerability. And what we've got to get is it's a choice. And with all of this, like, so the space that I'm inviting you to, this space of being, this space of vulnerability, this space where it's kind of like if you were to wake up in your life and have no judgment of anyone, and you don't know why it's there, but it feels really good. And you look in the mirror at your body before you get ready, and you look at your body and you're like, oh, hi, I've never seen you with no judgment before. And you see your friend, and you don't talk about the normal surface stuff and all the, like, this person does this and this person does this. Instead, you're like, hi, and you share this space together, which is so fulfilling, that it's just so wonderful to be you with another person. And then you go for a walk in nature, and it's like you can receive the plants differently. You see the different colors of green in a different way. You feel the sun on your skin and it just lights you up. You're like, wow, this is so amazing, which also is part of it, inspires a space of gratitude. And you have this, and you notice that things are just different, and you're receiving them differently, and you're receiving them more wonderfully. You're actually starting to see and perceive the wonder in everything. And that's part of what vulnerability gives us. But this is really what being us is. That's why I created the Being You Day, because I wanted people to know that this exists, that this is possible. And so if we look at vulnerability, is like, if I'm not being vulnerable, I've got walls up. And if I'm not being vulnerable, I'm like, hi, I am Dr. Dain Heer, and I am, which is why I don't know if they see it on the Zoom, but I put my name as Dr. Danger on the Zoom just because it's funny. I don't have to take myself seriously, and I can fuck things up. I do it really well. I've screwed up more things and made more bad choices than most people have made choices. I've got the freedom to screw it up and go, oh, I screwed that one up, okay, and just move on. And this is what occurs with vulnerability. Not vulnerability is that image where it's like, I am proving that I am perfect, and I want you to know how perfect I am because secretly I hate myself. It's like, we got choice. We can either try to prove that we're great, or we can truly be great. But what is great? Greatness is actually you having a sense of you and being able to be that in any situation. And it's such an amazing gift. And it's not something that occurs overnight. Personally, I've been working on it for the last 50 years. Yeah, roughly since birth, I would imagine. But really, with the tools to change it in the last 20 plus years, and it just gets greater every single day. I mean, I can't even imagine what is going to be possible in the next 10 years, but I'm not going to stop because it just keeps getting greater. So that's one of the other things I want people to know is this is not just one choice. This is not just one moment. This is a different way of living your life, navigating your life that gives you more of you every single day. And it's not just things and the good experiences that give you more of you. It's the crappy experiences that you find a way to work through that also give you more of you. So it's really this thing where everything that you encounter gives you more of you. It's friggin' awesome. And it's not, once again, it's not nearly as difficult as people think. It's just most of us have never been given the right tools, or when we were given the tools, we never really used them. And all this takes is the choice, having some tools, being willing to use it. Not as hard as we thought.
Wow. Thank you so much. We are really glad to have you here and sharing all this marvelous stuff with all Italians. Thank you, really.
Thank you. And I can't wait to come to Italia personally again. Let's ask for that.
I miss you.
I miss you too. I want a real hug, not just a virtual hug.
So thank you very much for everything. We will wait all the programs and the creation for the 22nd of May for the Being You Day. And also in Italian, we will have a lot of contents translated in Italian during that day. So we can really celebrate ourselves and have a different celebration with the earth that day.
Yay. I am looking forward to it. And I'd like to thank you both for translating so many things. And the Italian translators do such an amazing job of doing this as a way of contributing to people. And what else is possible?
Thank you, Dr. Dain.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.